Imagine you are building an AI tool that helps approve or reject cyber insurance applications. You pick an AI model of your choice. What will your immediate next step be? Well, you will need to thoroughly test your AI model for how accurate it is, so that you know the gaps you need to fill. And for that, you will need to craft a dataset that captures real-world applications. We cannot just vibe check such a critical application after all. Eventually, you might see yourself improving your AI models with the techniques such as post-training, where, again, such datasets would be crucial. Let me show you how DataFramer, a unique AI-powered synthetic data generation tool, can help you generate datasets of your desired distributions. On my screen, I have a few datasets. I'm going to pick the cyber insurance dataset. And as we go in, we can see that it has samples for Atrius and Questica, two different companies. We can open these samples and take a look. There are a few quote options. There are a few submission inputs, such as their name, their NAICS code, where they're headquartered, etc., and a few different things around security posture and claims details, and so on. So this is for Questica, and if I go open the Atrius package, it looks very similar. All right, so the next step after you have uploaded a data set on DataFramer is to create a spec. Now, what is a spec? Spec, short for specification, is essentially a blueprint of the structure and different data properties and their distributions in your seed dataset. When we create a spec, DataFramer deeply analyzes your seed dataset and tells you exactly what it saw. What does a common data property look like? What are the different data distributions of various different properties, and what do they depend on? What are the correlations between them? So if I click Create Spec here, it will select the data set for me and allow me to mention a name, let's say for demo. And here, this is pretty important. This is where you can configure and tell DataFramer what kind of data properties you're most interested in. So for example, you can say, include MFA deployment status as a data property. All right, so we can do that. We can say all the includes, and we can also mention all the excludes. So for example, here, exclude sensitive topic as an example, include tone as a variable access as an example, and so on and so forth. There are some very helpful and handy configuration options here. This one tells DataFramer that you would like to generate a probability distribution for various data properties. And this one allows you to mention if you want the correlation between different data properties to be taken into account. And then DataFramer also allows you to extrapolate your data properties into additional data properties that are not seen in the seed dataset, as well as extrapolate the values of the data properties that it is seeing in the seed dataset. Here's a quick example of how these work. All right, so I'm going to click Create Specification. It's going to take a moment, analyze my data set. All right, so seems like our specification is ready to be reviewed. If you open it, the first thing that we'll notice is that it has this common data properties section. Now, this is what DataFramer has analyzed and figured out what a particular data sample looks like. A sample must be a multi-file collection with exactly 5 files. It should have submission inputs detailing the company profile, security posture, and so on, at least one quote option file with policy type, etc., a risk score and recommendations file, bindable items, and so on and so forth. Now, the amazing thing about DataFramer is that you can edit this. So this specification is a bridge between your seed data and what you want generated. You can remove items, you can remove a few parts here, you can edit them, or you can add new ones. Let's scroll down. Now, we see that DataFramer identified 29 different data properties. Now, this includes basic stuff as company name, business type, annual revenue, but then it also includes something that I asked it to add, which is the MFA deployment status. Now, DataFramer automatically figured out what this is and what a particular distribution you might want in a resulting generated data set. For example, comprehensive, good, limited, minimal, so on and so forth. Now, let's say if I wanted to add a new value, I can do that. And I can give it a particular distribution that I want to see in my generated data set. I can also, interestingly, go to conditional tab and look at what MFA deployment status is conditional on. So if I select this, and let's say for now I select all, I see that when overall security posture quality is moderate, then 5% of the times the deployment status is comprehensive. When overall security posture quality is moderate, again, the value of MFA deployment status is good 35% of the times. Now, I am also able to change this. So DataFramer gives you a lot of control over how you generate your data, not just with the base distributions of a particular field, but then also the conditional distribution of that field's values conditional on other fields of values as well. All right, so let's save this and move on to the next step, which is to create a run. Now, a run is where we actually generate some real data with DataFramer. The run takes into account your seed data and your created specification and gives you the ability using the UI, which I'm going to use right now, or an API to create as many samples as you would like. So when I click create run, it selects my specification and its latest version. It asks me how many samples do I want to generate. And let's say I want to generate, for now, just 3 samples. I have the ability to pick the model that is available at my company or the model that I think would do the best job. For right now, I'm just going to use Claude Haiku from Anthropic. And one other amazing feature in DataFramer is that it allows you to revise your generated content. So not only does it generate the samples for you based on the model you choose, it also allows you to revise and improve the generated quality of the data. This could be very, very useful if you're generating data sets for, let's say, high regulation industries, critical use cases, and so on. For now, I'm just going to disable this and click Start Run. Now, as our run progresses, it will give us the exact status of where it is, how many samples have been generated, and it will take a moment. So let's come back and review it when it's ready. So in about 5.5 minutes, we have all of our 3 samples generated. Let's open some of these files and see what they have. So here we see Triton's submission inputs. If we take a closer look, it has its digital security posture, claims incidents, requested terms, and risk questionnaire summaries. It has some quote options, option A, primary, and risk score and recommendations, and bindable items checklist. And similarly, if we go down, we will see submission inputs for Luminary with all the different details here. We scroll up, we also see the MFA mentioned. And lastly, we have the same thing for Nexus Cloud Technologies. All right, so one other thing that DataFramer does for you is that it generates an automated evaluation or a fitness for use report for the generated data sets. And lastly, you also have the ability to chat with your data. So for example, if I ask it how many samples were generated and list the company names in a table. So this was a quick demo of how you can use DataFramer for generating very realistic evaluation and training data sets. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.